Welcome back to Down the Rabbit Hole with Popeye from FederalJack.com and his special guest, Mark Passio.
Doing my production and voiceover work, Bob Tuskin. Welcome back, guys. Mark, before the break, you were getting into the esoteric and occult meanings and hidden symbols and stuff like that, and we were talking on Bob Tuskin's show about 2 weeks ago now, and you were explaining to Bob's audience about the symbolism in police uniforms and military uniforms and stuff like that, and how it's actually very degrading and meant to be degrading. Could you expand on that a little bit?
Sure. Well, as we were talking about before the break, occultists hold very particular ideologies in their mind. I know this firsthand because I used to be involved in some dark occult orders in my past. I hence completely, since that time, completely reversed my philosophical understandings of the nature of reality and did a complete 180-degree turnabout and have been attempting to expose those ideologies and the methodologies which they use to the people of the world, because I realize they're using these techniques to enslave people. So the key factor to keep in mind, first and foremost, is that occult does not carry this connotation with it that most people think that it does, which means evil. The word occult does not mean evil. The word occult comes from the Latin language. It comes from a verb, occultare, O-C-C-U-L-T-A-R-E. Occultare means to hide, to conceal, or to keep secret. That is what the word occult means. That's the actual definition of the word. So all occult knowledge is knowledge that has been hidden. It has been occulted from the general population, just like secret meanings of symbols that are used only by the initiated. Occult generally means reserved for the initiated and kept away from people who are not initiated into the understanding of this secret language, okay, of symbols. So occultists, first and foremost, look at the world in a state of dualism, okay? And I mean dark occultists when I say this word in this context. Dark occultists, because there is a positive side to occult traditions, and I try to expose that as much as possible on my show as well, to help people to understand knowledge is simply a tool. It's not an end in and of itself. It's a means to an end. It's what you do with it that makes it...
the information isn't evil or good. It just is. It's what the person does with it that makes it good or evil.
That's absolutely right. It's a tool. It's no different than a hammer or a saw. It can be used to build up, or they could be used to do destruction. It depends on who's wielding those tools.
It's exactly what I've said, the same thing. You know, and government is the same way, Mark. Government is nothing more than a tool like a hammer, which could be used to build a house or cave a skull in.
Exactly. So occultists, dark occultists who are using this information in a perverted way to control and manipulate people hold a specific worldview, and that worldview is dualism. It's them and everybody else. And there has to be a winner and a loser in their worldview. And if they're going to win, everybody else has to lose, which means they're always looking for a tactical advantage or a power differential. And their means of doing that is knowledge and keeping certain knowledge about humanity and about how our consciousness works hidden from people in order to always maintain that tactical advantage over them. So if you could hold knowledge and then keep everybody else down with that knowledge because they don't have access to it, you're always going to be in a power position above them. And that's how they actually work. And the knowledge that they hold is all about how consciousness works and how to manipulate that consciousness into getting what they want in expense of what we want. So occultists basically have this worldview that people have at the very fundamental core essence of their nature, are bad and evil. This is their poisoned worldview, okay? And they want to do everything that they can to keep humanity in a position where we can never understand that knowledge, so that we can never actually raise our consciousness up to come out of this control situation that we're in as a result of this knowledge differential. So they have a disdain for people. They want to keep people down. And they, in this dualistic worldview, they have a couple of groupings that they place people into. Now, of course, this is a basic generality, but it is a generality that I observed directly when I was in the occult, okay? The dark occult, I should say. And they have names, basic names for groupings of people, okay? First, there's just us, and that means the dark occultists themselves. They look at themselves as a group. They work toward the same goals. They infuse energy toward those goals and think in a very specific way to get those methodologies accomplished, to accomplish their goals. However, they basically look at the rest of the world as comprising of two groups of people. And the first group of people, they consider the everyday person, the everyday man and woman who has absolutely no idea that they are operating in the world, has no idea about secret societies, has no idea about occult orders, has no idea about any occult knowledge. And the word that they generally use for them, some people will hear the profane used in terms of how they look at other people, meaning that they are base, they are low, they are uninitiated into the knowledge that these occultists hold and hoard, okay? However, that's not the general name that they apply to most people. I have always heard to them simply refer to the everyday person walking the street, going about their lives, not understanding about the nature of the control system that's in place and the fact that it is run by dark occultists. They call the everyday person the dead. The dead is their term for people. That's their term for the everyday person who has no idea that any of this is going on and has never studied occult knowledge in their life. And the reason they call people that is because they understand that consciousness is generally, the expression of consciousness is generally infused, or it is given life by three basic principles. There is our thoughts, our emotions, and our actions. So the thoughts are the creative principle, the emotions are the internal or feminine principle, and the actions are the external or masculine principle. And if these three things are not activated within a human being, people generally are unconscious, meaning that they don't have the three expressions of consciousness within them and active within them. So occultists consider those people not even really, truly alive.
You got to wonder if that's if like Night of the Living Dead and all these zombie movies are kind of a way of them, you know how, because they put things in your face. You got to wonder if it's kind of a way of them telling to the sheep, I guess, if that's what you want to call them, the mass populace, that they are in fact the brain dead zombies.
Well, these are allegories, basically. It can be done by good people who may be making these movies to try to make a point about how people around them are basically unconscious and dead, and how they detest living in a world where people really don't pay attention to what's actually taking place around them. So it could be done from both sides of the equation, by occultists themselves mocking people, and also by people who do understand this dynamic, trying to tell people, trying to subtly hint to them to wake them up out of that zombified condition.
Mark, I'm going to have you pause right there because we're coming up on a break. Listeners, stay tuned. We'll be right back. You definitely don't want to miss Mark on the other side of this break. This is Down the Rabbit Hole, and you're listening to me on the Orion Talk Radio Network.
What you did that day, kill your own citizens to advance your ways. All my real patriots stand up and say 9/11 was an inside job. They lie, they scam, they cheat and steal. They plot, they fund, they act, it's real. They watch, they hunt, they punish and kill.